Dr. Bill Ormston started his veterinary career thinking he wanted one thing, only to find out that he did not want the glitz and glamour of being it. Through the discovery of animal chiropractic, he found a sense of belonging and an opportunity to help animal patients resolve their ailments. He continues to find innovative ways to help animal chiropractors grow their practice, educate their clients, and help more animals.
Hey, thank you for tuning in today to the Senior Dog Seminar. Glad you could make it. We're going to talk about toenail trims or neurosurgery that you can do at home. I'm Dr. Bill Ormston. This was co-written by my wife, Dr. Amy Hayek. I am eternally grateful for her help, and let's get started. I think it's fairly simple to see, and we can all agree that all of these dog nails are way too long. Definitely interfering with walking, the ability of these dogs to stand up. Um, man, we really need to get these dogs' toenails trimmed. Most people would agree. But what about these toenails? They're not that long. They're not that bad, doc. Come on, let me go. You know what? If the dog's toenails are touching the ground, they're too long. Okay? Dog's toenails should only touch the ground when they're walking up a hill or digging a hole. Neither one of these two dogs are doing that. So then that brings us to the next question. Well, my dog doesn't like his toenails trimmed very much. Are you going to make him bleed? They won't bleed, will they? They might. But you know what? I've been a vet for 32 years now. 32 years, I've never seen a dog die of a toenail bleed. But I have seen him die as a result of long toenails. All kinds of things happen when the dog's toenails are too long. And that's really what we're going to talk about. When a dog's toenails are too long, it affects their posture. We have muscles that are meant to be stand-up muscles, and we have muscles that are meant to be move muscles. When our stand-up muscles are used to stand up, it's very efficient. An animal doesn't get tired. When they have to stand using their moving muscles, though, causes fatigue, problems with movement, and that leads to degenerative joint problems, leads to all kinds of medical problems. So for our geriatric pets, it's pretty important to make sure that we keep the toenails trimmed to allow the dog's posture to be as near perfect as possible to help with things like arthritis, altered kidney function, altered liver function, proper digestion, all things that we normally consider to be problems with older dogs. The dog's nervous system reacts to its environment. It determines how things grow. It determines where the body puts emphasis on. A good, healthy dog has no problem adapting to change, adapting to problems in the environment, what's going on. When a dog thinks he's walking uphill all the time because his toenails are too long, becomes a real issue. So we're going to look at some of these things more in depth as we go on here. And then we're going to finish up with some ways to trim the toenails. I know my dog hates to have his toenails trimmed. Guess what? It's still the best thing you can do for your dog is to make sure the toenails are trimmed and trimmed properly so that they're not touching the ground, so that when he walks, you can't hear him. We have people tell us all the time that we turn their dogs into stealth machines. They used to be able to hear them walk, and now they sneak up on them all the time, scare them. But, when a dog walks on a solid floor, he shouldn't be making a lot of noise. Toenails shouldn't touch the ground. By responding to environmental changes, the nervous system and body adapt to survive. Survival trumps pain. It is more important to survive than to avoid pain for animals. Stimulation from the environment is constant, and gravity is the number one constant stimulation to all living organisms. Stimulation to the foot tells the brain where the ground is and how to maintain balance. If your dog can't feel the ground, it'll become uncomfortable, just like you do. Feet communicate with the vestibular system, the eyes, and the muscles to achieve upright alignment with the horizon. This can cause some animals to become more stressed when their toenails are touching the ground. Stress is a hormone that's released from the brain that allows for survival during emergencies. It's normal in an emergency. But when the emergency doesn't go away according to the body, the stress response becomes a disease. When you hear your dog's toenails clicking on the floor, they are too long. You like walking around in these swim slippers with high heels. Legs would get tired, be very stressful. Touching the floor makes the animal lean forward, tells the brain to be sure to catch the animal before it falls, reduces the use of extensor muscles or stand-up muscles in the hind end. Diseases like diabetes, hypothyroidism, allergies, autoimmune dysfunctions can all be caused by changes in toe formation, which causes foot imbalances. Trimming toenails can help us fight disease. We should know the anatomy of the toenail. There's just 3 things that are important to know: where the spine, the artery, and the nerve is. The spine is on the top or the front of the nails here. It's the thick part, it's where the toenail grows. The artery is behind it, it's in the soft tissue, and then the nerve is behind the artery. A lot of times you can draw blood without hitting the nerve. That's why I say at the very beginning that long toenails can kill a dog, but I've never seen one die from a toenail bleed. Toenail grows based on stimulation from the environment. Strong part of the toenail grows to protect the soft tissue portions of the nail bed. When the strong part of the toenail is stimulated, it gets longer, allowing for the soft tissue portion to also get longer. Sasha is a good example of the problem with the toenail. Dogs that come in with a hump in their back often have long toenails, causing the issue. Sasha's an 18-year-old Lhasa Apso cross. She was brought in because she had a hunched back. Can't really see it when she walks away from it. When she walks aside, you can see that hunched back. So we noticed it was there too, and then physical exam revealed that she had long toenails. They're black. She doesn't like them trimmed. All the excuses. We've heard them all. Everybody's given them. So we said, we need to trim her toenails. So we trimmed them. We watched her walk afterwards. Kind of hard to see in that video. Yeah, it looks a little better there. Now, look at that. Wow. A lot of difference. Sure. When we look at it from here in a really slow motion, look at how straight her back is. Not hunched up. Huge difference, and all we did was trim her toenails. Think about how much better her digestion is going to be, how much easier it is for her to breathe. All the things. Go to the bathroom appropriately, like outside when you want her to, and not on the carpet. All kinds of things, just because we trimmed her toenails. There's the speed again. Huge difference, just trimming her toenail. So, the spine, the artery, and the nerve. The front, the middle, and the back. If we trim only the strong portion of the nail, we won't cause bleeding, but we cause the nail to get weaker. If we trim only the strong part, we can make the nail as short as we like in one trim. You could do all that and not make any blood. And then this is all going to wear back, all that long part there, because we got rid of the front. Here's a video to watch, one that we made with Dr. Amy, where we show how to trim some dog toenails.
Today we're here with Cutter.
Cutter has a little age, but as we know, age is not a disease.
And one of the things that we noticed as we watched Cutter walk on the cement is that you can hear his toenails clip the ground every time he walks. That is a major source of neurological input for the dog.
It tells their brain how far their head is from the ground, where it's going, what is moving, and how hard to step.
And the only time that the dog's toenails should actually touch the ground are when they're walking up a hill or digging a hole. And if he's walking up a hill and his toenails touch the ground, he'll lean forward. But
In order to balance, he has to bend his knees.
and that does several things. Number one is it takes and makes him start to use muscles that are meant to mobilize. Normally when we stand up straight, we're using our stabilizing muscles, and those muscles have a lot of connective tissue. They use energy sources that are in the cell, very efficient. They don't get tired very easily, and we can stand around for long periods of time. When we have to stand like this, and now all of a sudden we start to use mobilizing muscles to stand, now we're using muscles that don't have the connective tissue. They have longer fibers. They use an energy source that causes lactic acid buildup. If you stand like this for a while, you'll start to feel the burn in your muscles right in here. Okay.
And animals that have to stand like that all day long because either that or they lay down, have fatigued muscles. They're fatigued before they move.
And the number one cause of sports injury in any species is fatigue. So the other things, though, that happen when we stand if you have a dog that stands with a roach back,
Okay.
and I'm going to put my hand in here and roach cutters back a little bit, but we're going to change the
Roach just means arched.
arches back. We change the angle of his stifle or his knee. Okay. And that knee has some built-in stability from lateral to medial. But if we bend that knee, then it becomes that stability all goes away. So all of a sudden now we're putting more strain on our cruciate ligament. Sorry. And one of the major problems in this particular joint or the stifle or knee of a dog is that they tear their cruciates.
Because the cruciate is not designed to take a load. It's designed to keep the knee stable, not stronger.
And stable
So-
at a specific angle.
What we're going to demonstrate is how to trim these toenails so that we can make them effectively shorter and make them work. Oftentimes people are afraid to trim their dog's toenails because they're going to make them bleed. Part of the problem with that is that they want to trim the toenail along the bottom where all the nerve and muscle and soft tissue lies. But what we want to do is trim the toenail across the top.
Another reason that people have trouble trimming toenails is because they say their dog wants to fight them all the time. And a couple things that you can do that will help. One is bring the toenail backwards. People say, oh, you're doing it like you would trim a horse. Well, okay, yes, maybe. But the thing that we're doing is we're helping the dog be more comfortable. So we are bringing the leg backwards. And if you notice, she's trimming the front of the toenail and not necessarily the bottom of the toenail.
And really, I don't even care if I don't trim the bottom of the toenail because I'm trimming the strong part of the toenail.
Strong part of the toenail. And if we can get the camera to zoom in on this nail right here that she's not trimming, zoom in on this one right here. These nails are very black. Okay. The spine of the toenail is right here on the top. This is the strong part of the toenail. The quick is in the middle of the toenail. And sometimes if you have a white toenail, you can see that. That's the part that bleeds. And then below the quick, along the bottom curvature of the toenail, is where the nerve would be. And that's where the tenderness would be. So if we can trim the front of the toenail down, like she is showing us with Cutter, then the nail gets weaker. And as the dog walks, he will actually trim his own toenails and make them shorter.
One of the secrets to being able to trim the strong part of the toenail is to have the toenails wet. When they're damp, they're softer.
And people are going to say, well, Cutter's is standing so good. There's a couple things that you can do at home to help. One would be to lay your dog down. And if you just hold your dog, gently lay him down on the side and put your hand on his neck. Okay, like that. And we'll turn him around so that, oops. See, as soon as I took my hand off his neck, he got up. Now let's watch this again. Lay him down and put your hand on his neck. Hold it. Oh, we're okay.
Good boy.
And there's a riding reflex that these animals have, and I'm sure that everybody's heard of that riding reflex. And as long as we hold Cutter's neck and keep pressure on his neck, we're confusing the central nervous system and his riding reflex. And so he's laying here very quietly while Dr. Amy is trimming his nails. She's trimming the front.
Because he's not really sure where up is.
And I don't have a lot of pressure here. I just am holding it. And she trims the front and the sides of the toenail. She doesn't really worry about the bottom. And they know at home you're saying, well, but there's two of you.
Wait. It's the last one.
And that's why it's so easy.
And sure, it's always easier when you're two. He's a little tender on this toenail. So for me to get, there we go, up that ridge.
So but if you're there by yourself, you can, if you remember this riding reflex, see, I could trim him.
With your arm on the neck.
Leave my arm
The
on it.
back legs get a little more difficult for one person, but it's possible.
And if you're doing it by yourself and you can get your dog to lay down, we'll show you a couple tricks here in a minute on the other foot.
Remember, the key to this is being a little bit expedient. And it's a lot easier to be fast if the toenail's soft. So wetting the feet is really important. And it doesn't take a lot. Walk them in the wet grass.
Yeah.
Just walk them in the wet grass for a few minutes. Yeah, buddy.
All right. See, as soon as I took my arm off his neck, Cutter got up.
He had no trouble getting up.
right.
Good boy.
So the other way we can do this is bring that leg backwards. And that's more comfortable for the dog than taking the leg forward.
And for people who have dog groomers that trim their dog's toenail, oftentimes your groomer doesn't know this technique either. So this is a good technique to share with them because now they can become brain surgeons, not just groomers. This changes the way the dog's brain sees the world. Ta-da!
Okay. Now, let's see if we can watch him walk again. We'll start on the cement.
Come on, Cutter.
There's our shape just from our toenail trim. He's resetting his proprioception.
Come on, Cutter. We can still hear a little bit of toenail in the back feet, especially that back right, or left, I'm sorry. Come on, Cutter.
Okay, let's watch him walk on the grass again.
Yeah, he's dragging it back left, but otherwise,
He's dragging his left leg, but you notice that he's holding it He's not swinging as wide as he was before.
Yeah.
All right. So trimming, to rehash, trimming the strong part of the nail reduces the amount of the nail that touches the floor, reduces the rate at which the nail grows, improves the ability to balance, for your dog to balance by using stand-up muscles rather than move forward muscles, reduces the amount of stress hormones the animal produces, helping to prevent chronic disease problems like diabetes. Should trim the toenails at least once a month to shorten the spine of the nail. That's that top part. Monitor the vital signs to determine how stressed the animal is and how it improves. Look at things like, how many accidents do we have in the house? Encourage animal owners to maintain nails, all your friends, the health of their animals, which allows these animals to move more frequently. And when we take them to the groomer, if we're doing it, and we're paying closer attention to the animals, we'll see problems sooner in these animals than if we don't trim their nails very regularly. But it also saves lives. It reduces the incidence of metabolic issues, reduces osteoarthritis, reduces behavior changes in older dogs, keeps small breed dogs from developing disc disease. Heck, it saves your floors if you have wooden floors. 3 ways to improve the odds of saving a dog's life are obedience training, make them easier to train. Animal chiropractic helps. I know you're going to get an article hear about that from Dr. Hayek, and help them interact with their environment better with corrective toenail trim. Thanks for listening. You can get more information online and hands-on education for solutions for your dogs at www.animalchiropracticeducation.com. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.